project for today is these mating surfaces right here where that side cover goes on here, that bearing housing, to clean those up. If you check back a couple of videos, you'll see that those are quite rusty. Just kind of cleaned up that one, cleaned up this one, cleaned up this one. Still have the head gasket one to go. Just kind of thought I might take a break and throw a shop tip in here. And the reason for this is this file right here. You know, they're snipped off on the end straight there when they're made new. And if you see what I done right there, this top, this is like a half used up file there. It's still good as a file, but what I done, left this part unground, and then on this part I just ground it as a fingernail shape and at a taper, a pretty decent taper. And this is really forgiving. But what you want to keep in mind is whatever you're scraping with this, make a scraper out of it. And what you're scraping with this, and the reason being, the reason for that modification is, if you were scraping the inside of this cylinder right here, say there was a little thing of rust down in there that you needed to remove, and you got down in there with that, you've got two very sharp corners right there that will dig into that metal right there. As is most scrapers are that way, small or large. You've got them two scraper things. Even if you use a screwdriver to get down in there, you still got the two corners. Well, this right here, that angle, that radius right there is a little less, a lot less, if need be, than what this circle is that you're scraping. And the way you use that is, say right down in there where that oil pipe is. Say there was a little bit of rust right there, and you can go right down in there and get that little piece of rust away. Save your cylinder, or whatever you need to scrape out inside. Even if you was making something new and you drilled a hole in there and you had a little burr when you drilled, that drill came through, then this right here would work perfectly good for that instance, is to go right down in there and knock that little burr away. Just work it away. You're not filing, you're only using it as a hardened scraper. Works really good. Shop tip. And what I did right here is I put one of them grinding things right there. It's soft, and it was a good bit bigger than that when I started. It had some rust, you know, and I went around through there like that. And I tell you something else too. You know that we're going to leave this engine as is. So when you're cleaning that surface with some kind of wheel like this right here, the rotation, if it's coming this way on this top part right here, you'll end up with a shiny line around that. So you always want your rotation on the outside to go away from that. That way you will have no evidence that you worked on the engine. And also this scraper right here is good if you've got a little something there that should not be there, you can get it. And the reason I got this out here is the amount of rust that was inside this engine right here was, it was as much as I have ever seen. But you know, I can scrape it away. It's going to take a while. It'll be time consuming. But that's the beauty of this radius here is every angle in there is a circle, part of a circle. So with that angle, then you're actually getting in there and scraping something, as if I was using this wherever I got to this radius, then this part right in here wouldn't be touching anything. And it's just, like I say, it's going to be time consuming, and when you see this again, it'll be in primer. I'll scrape this 100% inside down and bare metal, and most likely I will get in there with a grinding wheel, grind that completely clean, and then I'm going to coat that with a probably Rust-Oleum rusty metal primer, just as I normally do. While we're in this area right here, let's get that O-ring out of there. I haven't removed that O-ring yet. So I got that little sharp thing right there, and I'm going to reach right up in yonder and get right down in. Oh, that's going to be an easy one. I punctured that O-ring right there, and so I get it up out of there, and I'm just going to pull it right out there. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but kinda easy like. Work it around. You don't want it to break if you can help it. It's tight on that end. There we go. Oh, it broke. If you can get it out there without breaking it, it's a lot easier. And it did break. So, but it was I can see that it broke. It was not broken in use. And all the way around on the outside there, it looks like it was making contact and was stuck. Now right there is a little rough place, but even on the inside it shows no gap or no breakage or nothing. So probably that cylinder was probably sealed, and that was one of the things. We will replace that with a new one. No need to keep that. And I will clean that out, and if you remember the tool that I got to clean that circle out in there, that gap for that O-ring, just check back a few videos and you'll see that in use. And we'll replace that. All holes has been reamed out with the appropriate wire brush. I'll run a tap in all of the holes, and when we come back, let's look at something. I've not did anything to the front. That's the way it was found, if you remember. So let's make a couple of. Well, that's hard there. Now this is the reason that this was one of several reasons that McCormick Deering International in particular, several reasons that they had this removable cylinder, and one of them, if you read the advertisement, see that's hard. That's a gummy. Well, it looks like a tar. Well, it's just dirt, nothing but dirt. But that had that whole bottom of that crankcase water hopper completely sealed up. There would have been no water in that area on that cylinder. None, and that's hard. Can hardly break it. I'll tell you something else too. If you make yourself one of these scrapers right here, be sure to use a handle on it that's got a ferrule and is good and safety. Don't use one of those plastic handles, because you're pushing on this, and you want something there strong enough to where you do not push that into your hand if the handle was to break. You want that to be really secure. Safety in all. And even in here, see, that's a circle in there, and this right here works perfect. That's perfectly shaped for that clean out. And if it gets dull, If you dull this, then when you sharpen it, you just grind that radius on this thing. And it's just freehand. Don't be trying to build no apparatus or nothing like this. Just go over there to the grinding wheel, grind that right there, and use it. Now, and I know you're not going to be able to see it, but underneath all of that dirt and grime and stuff that's in there, that cylinder actually looks, it's very clean. I mean, the crankcase, not the cylinder. It looks very, very clean. Oh, we'll clean that out. Run a thread in all the holes, and then I'll file this flat on the front here where the gasket goes. Another thing too, if you remember, I run this through the electrolysis tank once. It's been in there for overnight, and then I water brushed it, and that's how clean it is. And like I stated in another video, there's no rust on this cylinder anywhere, and that's the confusing part. How clean this water hopper is on this engine and how rusty the crankcase is. And a lot of times if this crankcase is rusty like that, you will have a leak at the O-ring and water will drain into the crankcase, and then if it don't expel out the rear check valve, then water will puddle in here, and it's hot, steamy, and it'll clean all of the oil and protection off of that bare casting in there, and it will rust real quick. And I was kind of thinking that's what happened here, because everything was sealed up. So, but finding what I have finding on this engine, that's a mystery to why all of that is rusted so bad. And another thing too is there is some wear in this cylinder. For everything to be so clean, if you feel down in there, you actually can. I can tell that there's some wear in there. So I may check on the sideboard over there and see, do I have a better. We'll put a micrometer in here and just see how much it's worn. But there is some wear in there. So all of those, the engine is actually a contradiction to itself. Oh, keeping in mind that we're not going to do anything, and that's actually been this kind of build is it's a little harder for me to do than if I was going to paint this. Oh, it would be real easy just to get a spray can and paint this thing and be done with it. I mean, even break out the big spray gun. You know, it'd be much easier than you got to always remember, hands off. You know, you want to keep it exactly like it is. Only thing you want it to be as good as can be in a running condition. With that said, let's continue this till we get that primer in there. From here on East Coast Arkansas, Shop Dog Sam.